Writing is so bad today, it makes me sad. So today I'm bringing you guys a book review of a highly controversial book, but I decided to still do the book review because I've done the other two books, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Or Maas. I still don't know I still don't know. Alright, so obviously this is the third book in a segment, so I'm not going to do like a non-spoilery section because I figure you've been reading the books. Hold on, dog. Anyway, like I was saying, this is the third book in a segment, so we're just going to jump into my thoughts. So I kind of had a lot of issues with this book. I definitely was not as into it as I was with the second book. A Court of Mist and Fury is still my favorite book. And even I feel like this is more on par with A Court of Thorns and Roses and how I felt about it. But I had a lot of issues with this book, a lot of holes, a lot of things that I didn't like. One of the main things that, you know, I had a problem with, and this was a big thing in the booktube community, is that there is a scene in this book where she's describing kind of the love life of a brother and sister, and the wording that was chosen has been interpreted, you know, how do I explain this? I don't know how to like word it correctly, but the asexual community, we ain't happy with this shit. And I'm saying me as in I'm an ally with them. I am not asexual. And so from what I've heard from their community is that this is kind of really aphobic, and it just shows, it kind of hints that asexual people are, you know, lifeless and soulless, and that there's something wrong with you if you aren't attracted to anything. I believe that's what asexualness is. Not 100% sure. I will put a definition here so that I am not being insulting or incorrect in any way. But that is what I heard from the community and what I saw on Tumblr. And I read the passage, and at first I didn't interpret it that way, but again, I'm not asexual, so why would I? And I again interpreted it a different way, but I saw what they said, and I definitely can see how they came to that conclusion. And I just think it's poor editing on her part, and she really needs to do a better job at fixing these words and how she describes things. But does that make me hate her? No. She has gotten a lot of backlash over the years for the lack of diversity as a person of color. Like, obviously that affects me, but I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy her books. And I definitely saw in this book she talks more about people of color, she describes their skin, and she's definitely doing a better job. So she hears our grievances and she's trying to be a better writer, and I'm not gonna hate her for that, and I actually applaud her for that. So maybe she doesn't always comment on it, but she is doing her best to better understand and make this enjoyable for her readers. And yeah, I think we're really hard on Sarah J. Maas because she's very popular right now, but I think she's doing a good job of trying to be a better writer, and all I can do is applaud her for that. But I did have some other issues with this book. So my favorite thing about this book was basically the war scenes. I love everything about it. Definitely in a lot of books, when there's like about to be a big war, it's always like this one chapter of aloof fighting, and then everything worked out. But this had strategy, there were battles, it was like a real war, and I really enjoyed reading that because I'm an action kind of girl. I love action movies, I love action television shows, so I also enjoy action in my books, and I like to read, you know, the complexities of war and battle and strategy, and I don't know, that stuff interests me. So I really love that, and that was my favorite aspect of this book. Now, that is to say, it's kind of sad that this was my favorite aspect of this book because it should have been a lot more. But there's just so many things that annoy me in this book. One, Nesta. I hate Nesta. Fuck that bitch. I hate that all of a sudden in this book she comes off as this super powerful badass bitch. She has yet to apologize for Feyre, that she has only cared about Elaine their entire life. Like, she doesn't love Feyre, and I hate this excuse that, oh, she just feels too much, so she becomes off as abrasive. No, fuck you. I don't care if you feel too much. Like, other people matter, and this is your sister. And, like, all her life, you've only cared about fucking Elaine. And so much in this book and through the series, you forget that Feyre is their baby sister. And they give, like, absolutely no fucks about each other. It's just, like, Nesta and Elaine. It's like Feyre doesn't even exist. And I just think Nesta is just an awful, awful person. And no matter how much it's described of, oh, she feels too much and like she secretly really cares, that doesn't give me a soft spot for her. She's like, I hate her and I just want Feyre to beat her ass or Rhys to beat her ass. And I hate how they just kind of forgot about it and they're forgiving her. And I get there's bigger matters at hand, you know, a war. And Feyre's been so understanding and kind, especially about her trauma, you know, being thrown into the cauldron. And she really, like, tries to help her with this. But Nesta just, like, Nesta is trash. Like, come on, man. Like, what? I hate her so much. Like, fuck. I hate Nesta. Like, I don't care if y'all love her. Like, she's a bitch. Fuck Nesta. Another thing that I really hated in this book is I thought Feyre was really weak. And, you know, in A Court of Mist and Fury, when she's discovering her powers and she is dealing with, you know, her newfound love for Rhys, and she doesn't think that she's really his perfect mate because he's a super powerful, badass High Lord, and she thinks she's less than. And then he tries to tell her, like, no, you really are powerful, you know, you haven't discovered your powers yet, you know, you're still learning, but we're on par, you better be a badass bitch. So this gave me anticipation for the third book to see Feyre, like, bust out, kick some ass, be a badass bitch. But this entire book, like, everyone had to rescue her. She came off as really weak. She was really scared to, like, fight or do anything. And, like, I get it, you know, PTSD doesn't just disappear because you fall in love and all of that. But I just expected her to have more power in this book. And it's just, like, every time something happened to her, she's like, help me, I'm helpless, I can't do it myself. And the thing I liked about her was that she was a strong, like, heroine character, and she didn't need Cassian and Azriel and Mor and Rhys to keep, like, saving her, or she didn't need, like, Byrexis, is that his name, like, the monster in the library to save her. Like, the fact that she kept having to have someone save her just, like, really pissed me off, because she's supposed to be the most powerful High Lady. She's the only High Lady in all of Prythian. Like, I just expected more from her. And the only interesting thing was, you know, her power, like, her power to make these deals with these ancient, aloof characters. I wish they were described more, like, especially, like, Byrexis and, you know, more about the Bone Carver. And I just wish I got more, like, information about them and the Weaver, because, like, they were the most badass characters so far, you know, and, like, I don't know, it still was just so aloof about them, and I don't know, everything with Feyre was a lot. I definitely think Rhys and Feyre, their relationship definitely changed. I miss how they used to be. Now, every time you see Rhys and Feyre, they're, like, fucking each other like animals, and the thing that I liked about them before was, yeah, there's that super hot scene in A Court of Mist and Fury, and you're like, woohoo, ciao! But their dynamic was so fun, and they were joking with each other, and it was cute and, like, corny in a way. And now it's just like every time they see each other, it's like, fuck, my brain's out, we're gonna die. And it's just a lot, and you just kind of got tired of it. You're like, okay, we get it, his dick is big, the mountains rumble, God save us all. Like, I don't know. I also kind of hate how everyone kind of got paired off. It's like, oh, everyone found their perfect mates, and I don't know, it was a lot. Like, Amren's got a man now, you know, Lucian and, you know, fucking Elaine, they're working on their relationship, and everyone's got this weird, like, love tension thing. And I just hate when you have, like, a really good group of people with a super nice dynamic, and then all of a sudden everyone falls in love with each other, and it's just like couple. No, like, some people can be, like, just by themselves. Not everyone wants to be in a relationship, you know? So, yeah. I definitely think the most interesting character in this book was Azriel. I was in love with Azriel this book. He we learned so much more about him, and he's just so kind and sweet and loving, and I love Azrael. Like, I just want him to be happy. God. And I kind of like felt a little something between Azrael and Elaine, but I definitely think it's because he's so nice and so kind. So I thought it was really interesting that that dynamic kept happening, even though she is mated with Lucien, who kind of disappears for like a large chunk of the book to go find, you know, Vasa or whatever. So let's see, what else are my feelings? I was fucking bawling when the fucking dad showed up. I was like, what? Like, I was crying so much. I was like, Daddy, finally, you care about us. And I was like, he's repenting, yet Nesta still ain't doing shit. Like, he's making up for it. And of course, I hate how, who's leading the charge is Nesta's, like, you know, Nesta's, like, because he names his boats after his daughter, and I hate how Nesta's the leader, and he really is apologizing to Nesta. Like, apologize to Feyre. Why is no one apologizing to Feyre? Like, everybody gives a fuck about Nesta, and I don't understand it. Like, you're not the main character of this book. Why is everyone caring about you? Like, no. When are we gonna apologize to Feyre? When is Dad gonna apologize to Feyre? When is Elaine gonna apologize to Feyre? When is Nesta gonna apologize to Feyre for how they treated her for all these years? Like, what? But then it was just kind of like, what the fuck, after when her dad just like died, and you were like, oh, that was really sweet, but we never really cared about him or knew anything about him anyway, so whatever, he can die. So it was just kind of like, what's the point of that, you know? And then the ending, like, I'm just gonna say it, and you may hate me, and you know I kind of hate me for this, but I wish Rhys and Amren would have stayed dead. I know that's horrible to say out loud, but like, I do, because I just love, and this is something that I really, really loved about Divergent. Spoiler alert for Divergent if you haven't read that series yet. But when the main character just dies and you're just like heart-wrenched, like, I love that. Like, it's like, oh, it's so sad they died, but then, you know, like, it's really over, there's no more books, like, you just gotta deal with your pain, you know? And I like when I'm made to feel. So when Rhys died, I was like crying. I was crying so much. Like, I was like, like, I don't know how to describe it. And then once I got over my tears, I was like, wow, what an ending. What a strong ending. Like, just now, like, you were just thinking of, like, now Feyre has to be High Lady. She got to figure it out. She got to come more into her power. Like, it was just like, whoa, mind blown. What an ending, you know? And then it was like, actually, he's going to come back and, you know, all of them are going to save him just the way they saved Feyre, but he's not going to get their power, which I don't really understand. I'm just going to take it as Feyre took their power because she wasn't a fairy before they revived her, you know, so maybe that's why. But otherwise, it doesn't make sense why Feyre, you know, took the powers of the High Lords, but Rhys didn't. I don't know. Doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of inconsistencies, a little bit. And then, I really wish this story was fleshed out more, and I guess this is probably because she wants to start, you know, a novella about this, but I really didn't care about Lucien and Elaine. I really want to see what happens to Lucien and figuring out that his father is, like, from the summer court, and he's not really, like, an autumn court. Like, I was like, boom! Shocker! Like, that definitely surprised me, and they just kind of, like, drop that truth bomb on you, and then just kind of, like, everyone glazes over it and no one wants to tell him. But I want to know. I want to know what happens. So this probably will be, you know, another book, because she says at the end of the book that it's going to continue. This, like, world is going to continue in 2018. So hopefully we get more of Lucien and figures out, you know, get to see him as a High Lord. Like, how cool would that be? Also, something that I thought came out of the woodworks was Moore turns out to be a lesbian. Now, again, I definitely think this is Sarah J. Maas listening to her audience, you know, asking for more diversity, you know, more, you know, people of color, more, you know, different sexualities. But I definitely think it came out of the woodworks, and I think she just, like, heard the critique. This is what I feel like. Again, I don't know how she really felt, but I just felt like she heard the critique, and then she was like, boom, we'll make Morgan gay. And then you're like, okay. So it was really interesting, and I read, you know, some other people's reviews, and they talked about how much they identify with her. So I think it still was really good for someone, you know, from the LGBT community to see their representation in these books. It was nice for me to see, like, hear all these descriptions of, like, brown people, and I was like, yes, we in these bitch, whoop whoop. So that was exciting, but I also just think it kind of came out of the woodwork a little bit, but you know what, that's okay. So yeah, that was a lot of rambling. I had a lot of feels about this book. I did enjoy it. I did give it 5 stars, but you know, it had its moments. There are some things that were just a little weird, and I know I talked about a lot of things that I hated mostly from this book, because I was just like, there's a lot of confusion in this book, but overall I did enjoy it, and I thought it was a nice conclusion to a story that I've been obsessed with. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've got some, you know, comments, concerns, anything, I'm just gonna say this right now in case I got anything wrong talking about asexuality or like how they feel and what their view is on it. I did not intend to insult anyone, or I like to be an ally, but again, I'm still learning more about asexuality and, you know, how they feel and what kind of representation they want and everything. So I'm still learning. So if you'd like to, you know, educate me a little bit in the comments, I would appreciate that. You know, I'm always here to be a better person and ally. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more videos that I try to put out every week, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.